One time, shout out to my sister. We were going out to concerts and things like that. And shout out to a church, Casa de Fe.
Oh,
we
yeah.
went out
shout
there,
out Casa
man.
de Fe.
And there was this artist hit the stage, man. He hit the stage. He said, y'all only got one song out right now. And the song was called Purple Dinosaur. And it was the only song that was out. And I remember I went in the car, downloaded that song, and it was the only song he had on his catalog. And just seeing him grow over time, being signed, running things, being independent, being a festival owner, the whole nine, man. And he's in the building. We've been wanting to have him on for a minute.
Man, it's been a minute.
It's been a minute. We got No Big Deal in the building, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, shout out
Dill,
Dylan.
how you feeling, man?
Man, I feel great. Man, shout out Casa de Fe.
Casa
That's
de Fe,
the
man.
early days, man. They believed in us super early. That's where I met RG.
Oh, for
was
real?
at Casa de Fe.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a historical little show that you
Deep
were
cut.
at. Yeah,
Can y'all
yeah.
educate me? What's this?
So this was it's a church, right?
Yeah, Casa de Fe, here in Atlanta.
Okay.
I don't even know how they heard about like No Big Deal and Indie Tribe. It was like the original, like me and Mowgli. And they heard about us somehow. Mowgli probably remembers better, but they booked us. And yeah, we drove down from Nashville and we did the show. We met RG there. Michael was there.
Did you know Michael already?
I already knew Michael. Yeah, I met him at Flavor Fest in like 2014 or something.
Okay.
But this was like one of our like first shows for real, was at Casa de Fe. We met RG. He had all Yeezy on. He had braces. He had the backwards hat, skinny jeans with the ripped holes. He was super young too. And then and they kept bringing us back. And I think the second show, there's actually like an iconic picture. I got to find it. But it's like, bro, it was like me, RG, Jay Monty, Ty Brazzle, like everybody. But before, like Casa de Fe low key was like early to everybody.
Jeez,
Picture's crazy. Uzuhan, like
Shout out
Lauren.
Uzuhan.
Yeah.
Lauren was there. Jerry Mana, like it was crazy.
Whoa.
They were, Casa de Fe really like was tapped in.
They was tapped in. They knew it was
Before everybody.
The freshman class before the freshman class.
yeah, for real. Like before Rapzilla, everything,
Yeah.
bro. Like
That's fire.
yeah. So y'all were at that show.
Yeah. I think at the time we were just really big on just trying to. I forgot somebody was headlining. I can't even remember, but I remember seeing RG now. I was fine because I remember seeing Lauren. Now thinking about it, I remember seeing RG. I think he had on black.
Yeah,
and
he
then
did.
I remember we did this song. I'm wrapping my arms around these people I don't even know, talking about I love you
Purple
and you
Dinosaur.
love me, and you know what I'm saying. So it's so good seeing thinking about all those memories and thinking about all that you've done now, bro. Talk about like just where you are right now, just like in life, how 2025 has been treating you, just to kind of dive into the season of life you in right now.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, right now I'm in the middle of the All For You tour with Hovey. Coming off of my solo tour, the People We Became tour last fall. It's a really special time for me in my career. Just been filled with gratitude. This is last year I had my first real hard ticket sold out show, which I know is surprising to some people, but that was last spring for my No Big Deal Unplugged, like with the full band.
Yeah.
And then in the fall we did the tour. It was 20 sold out dates. It was like,
man.
so going from my first sold out date, and then this is really the first tour I've done since like 2019, solo tour or headline tour rather.
Cool.
So testing out the waters and then seeing the people respond like that, that's like just very humbling experience. And then going on this Hovey tour and playing a lot of the venues that like I grew up going to see people perform at. We just performed at Cannery Ballroom in Nashville, which is what I came up, going to see acts there. So I think if there was one way to sum up this like time period, it would just be gratitude, trying to really be present in these moments and give it back to God. So yeah.
No, that's real, man. I think there's one thing that I will say that I really enjoy. It's just because I went to the show in Atlanta last year, and I don't know. It's the way you craft your shows that I don't know. It's unlike anything I've seen with people in our space. Like people do like the youth group thing. No shot to nobody who does that, but
Couple
like
shots.
where they do a song, talk a little bit about the song. You know what I'm saying? Like yours just seemed like a really well-crafted show.
Oh, yeah.
And with the live recordings and the live album, that's been like a whole experience within itself. Not even listening, but even seeing people enjoy. How long have you wanted to do that? Like how would the inspiration behind wanting to do a live album and doing the whole unplugged thing? Kind of dive into that a little bit.
Yeah, so I think that I just love music. Like I really love music. I'm not in this for like, for clout or just trying to find a way to be popular or be big or any of that. Like I love music. If nobody was listening, when nobody was listening, I was doing music. You know what I mean? I come from a musical family. My uncle is a drummer. He's a Grammy Award winning drummer. He's the band leader for the No Big Deal Unplugged shows. So he puts together this crazy band of all of these amazing musicians in Nashville that he's built this relationship with for 20 years. He does all the music charts and everything, and we do rehearsal together.
It's crazy.
And it's just, it's like a beautiful experience to be able to translate my craft, which is, writing and rapping and crafting these words and concepts and stories, and to match it with the same kind of expertise instrumentally with these band members and these vocalists. And then being able to do that with my uncle, and make it a family affair. It's just a beautiful experience. So that was just a monumental moment that my first sold out show, like at a neutral venue, hard ticket in my hometown, was with my uncle, like with my family present. And it being like all live instruments, that was just a really, I was really blessed by that moment. So yeah, I've wanted to do that. We've wanted to find a way to work together for a long time, but his schedule is crazy. I mean, he's like, he's always touring. He's a touring drummer. So, but yeah, we found like a pocket of the year where we both have some downtime, and so that's why we do it in January, because that's like when we both can do it. But yeah, and then we record that live performance and put it out as an album, and so we're gonna do that every year. But
every year.
Yeah, every year.
Whoa,
yeah.
I love that.
We're going to do that every year. So there'll be like a whole anthology of live. And I think people might not know what I mean by live. I'm saying it's what we performed at the show is on the project.
No backing vocal.
Yeah. There's no backing tracks.
They don't hear the
no backing
boy.
vocals. Yeah. Like it's what was at the show.
Yeah.
So
I want to ask a little bit about that, because I feel like I've seen you live, even on the Cray and Andy tour. The name of it was
Better Late Than Never
tour. Yeah. And I've seen you grow as a performer.
Yeah,
bro. Like honestly, in the Christian hip hop space, the way you're crafting those live moments with your packaging and the live albums, I'm not saying you are the first, but it feels like I don't see nobody else doing that.
Yeah,
and talk about being a pioneer that in our space specifically.
Yeah. I think, again, I just love music. I want to elevate how people see the craft of hip hop, because I think that over the years it's been devalued.
Facts.
To be just kind of like microwave party music to do drugs to. You know what I mean? Really lowbrow stuff.
Yeah.
And there's some of the biggest things in hip hop culture really give a platform to artists just kind of coming out high on stage and basically just playing their mastered tracks and sometimes rapping, sometimes not. You know what I mean?
Right
yeah,
there.
you know what I mean? Like, and so I think that that's communicating to especially new generations coming up that that's what hip hop is. You know what I mean? And it's so much more than that.
Yeah.
And it has meant so much more to millions and millions, if not, billions of people. But I don't think it will mean that much if we just continue to allow that to be the narrative. So I'm just trying to like take it back to the roots and then elevate that. You know what I mean? Like, man, let's get musicianship in there. Let's get real performance in there where we're actually performing like every lyric. Let's get real MC, like showmanship back in there. Let's get real writing. You know what I mean? And rewriting and real concepts, music that can actually impact people's lives, that can mark mark like special times in their lives, that can help them grieve, that can help them rejoice. That's what hip hop was for me.
Yeah.
You know, that's what good hip hop is. I think that's why it has stood the test of time and why we've had 50 years of it, is because in a special way that some other genres can't, it can really like be a soundtrack of your whole life.
Facts.
You know?
Facts.
And so I'm just trying to keep that at the forefront and elevate that, you know.
No, you're killing it. You're doing it. You're doing it. I feel like there's a craftsmanship to your brand. There's a care for the space. And now I know you said hip hop like 10 times. So I want to qualify, but I also want to subgenre qualify, because I think that's important. Like, because when people look into Christian hip hop, I'm glad
100%.
and thankful that they see some of the other artists, and they see you, because I think people who come from like that remnant of like raw hip hop, quality, craftsmanship, vocal control, rap performance.
Yeah.
I mean, we need your voice. In fact, I kind of need more. Of people who carry that craft in a way that's like honoring. Because I do feel the value part. Do you feel like even with the streaming era, do you see that value like fighting to be preserved? Like how is that like? Does that make you cautious, nervous for hip hop, even Christian hip hop going forward? Like the devaluation, even when the Renaissance we having, is it like, who's appreciating the art form? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think that like streaming took away a lot of gatekeepers, which is good and bad. I think that like I owe a lot of the fact that people know me to the newer version of the music industry, where there's less gatekeepers and you don't have to be on a label for people to know who you are. So I'm actually grateful for that. I've never been. I'm an early adopter to stuff. I'm not like really averse to stuff changing. You have to be able to adapt. And at the same time, since all the gatekeepers are gone and everybody can upload music, it has created obviously like an oversaturation, and then people just trying to do anything to get their music heard. And especially with social media being a main driver of how people discover you, well, now you can just do some crazy antics to break through the ceiling and get people to hear you, you know? So I think we saw that like at the height of the SoundCloud era. Like there was great music that came out of that. And then there was people, I remember on social media, people were like literally like throwing TVs out of hotel rooms and like banging their heads on walls, like to get people to listen to their songs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I do think that like some of that devaluing has come from this era, but I actually think now where we are is that people are, especially the new generation, is like so tired of kind of like the internet personality, like this really shiny facade, they like now actually what's valuable is human connection. So this is actually really,
that's really good. Keep going, say more.
This is actually really interesting. Like there was an era where it was like, you want your biggest stars to kind of be mysterious and like behind the screen and aloof, right? And then, but now you'll see even the biggest artists like Ed Sheeran. Let's take Ed Sheeran, right? Like for a long time, it's like he's like this untouchable. He's always been a good guy, but like you know, now he's like just popping up at like little like restaurants in Nashville and playing and buying everybody pizza, or he's like standing on top of cars. Like even the biggest superstars have to humanize themselves. All of a sudden, Taylor Swift, like over the last few years, started doing Instagram stories, like just like regular Instagram stories. You know what I mean? Like because people want like human connection. There's actually like is very valued now. And if stuff feels inauthentic or too polished,
yeah.
You know, we've even seen that with social media. At first, when TikTok first popped, if you had like really, there was a time that if you had really polished material, you would break through because like nobody had access to that. And people were like, yo, how are you doing this? And now it's almost like you got to make sure it doesn't look too planned out and too high production, because people, even the Gen Z shake, which now people are like, that's fake now. Like it started out like it was just people putting their phone down. Now people are imitating that because they're trying to communicate, hey, I'm real, I'm authentic. You know what I mean? So all that to say, I'm trying to be like, yo, we want real human connection now. Like we want real events. So I'm like,
real events, everything.
Yeah, let's do it. Like let's really strip it down. You know what I mean? Like you're gonna hear my actual voice, like with no processing, with these instruments. You know what I mean? When I perform, even if it is like a traditional rap show, like you're hearing my real vocals. You know what I mean? There's no backing tracks, that type of thing.
Rolling Loud set. Talk about
Rolling Loud. Like
that boy was. I was like, boy, that boy. Hey, put some respect on the performance chops. It's crazy.
Yeah. So I know that was a lot.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, this is. I think this is really good. There's so much to unpack, and shout out Meah too for just prompting you to talk about that. I think that's really helpful. I also want to. You talked about the ascension of streaming, the SoundCloud era.
Yeah.
And what's interesting about your story is you have found out how to find your fans, grow your audience from a lot of different eras as a music industry entertainer. Because you're not really, you've been doing this for a minute.
Yeah.
But your career hasn't stalled.
That's right.
So it's like a very rare. I want to dive into even before Canopy. Who was that deal, and how did it get here? So. We went to deal too. Like every time I meet him, I'm like, yo, man, you're like honorary Reach Records artist, man.
Hey, man, it is what it is.
We ain't got no paperwork, but I feel like he's like family. So
a lot of people think I am signed to Reach. Like I'm all the time like, oh no, I'm not. I'm independent. They're like, oh, okay. Yeah.
He's like, nah, I got my own situation. You know what I'm saying? I ain't need y'all. That's what he said. That's what he said.
Hey.
He's like, hey, who's that? No, I think it's beautiful, man. I want us to be a place where. Even through our playlists and collabs, like
this is family.
It's like same team energy. Shout out Swoop. Like that was a song and a meaning, and I want us artists now to also try to embody and live that out.
Yeah.
There's gonna be tension here and now and then, but at the end of the day, I don't think my Grammys, your plaques, your streams, I don't think those things are gonna make it in heaven for real. Like in this, hey, look what we did, God. It's like well, how do we impact people's hearts? You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day.
For sure.
Speaking of impact, you've been impacting people in a very unique way. In terms of like, I mean, obviously I want to know about your Kingdom influence, but just in terms of artistry and as a rap career, Dill, you have like ascended. Like I remember dealing with you in 2017, and from then to now, your growth as an artist, brand, and platform are like crazy.
Yeah.
But you kind of came in right at the like the streaming era was just starting to take shape, I think in 2016, 2017.
That's right.
And you like have built a fanfare. Talk about the pre-deal, pre-Canopy. What were you doing? How'd you get here? How'd it start? Like break it down for us, bro.
Yeah. So I went to, like I said, I came from a musical family. So I came up going to my uncle's shows. He was jazz drummer when I was growing up. So going to jazz clubs, watching him play, and there'd be spoken word poets there too. So that was like I was getting the bug for music, and then also like writing and performing and storytelling and all that. And so I cut my teeth on spoken word poetry. That was the first thing.
Before rapping?
Before rapping.
Wow.
I'm like
Makes
9.
sense.
Yeah.
I'm like 9 doing spoken word, doing competitions and everything.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
So your access to word play and like metaphors was before. Were you listening to hip hop at the time?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
I always loved hip hop. When I was super young, my mom didn't want me listening to it, but my dad would sneak and let me listen to it.
What records come to mind? What artists?
Well, so I don't know. It's not really a memory. It's a memory of watching the VHS tape. But there's like one where I'm like 2 years old and my dad has like Onyx on. You know, Onyx. He has what is that song? I can't even remember the song, but like I'm dancing to it. I'm like 2 years old dancing to my dad playing Onyx. But yeah. So I mean, when I was growing up though, I mean it was Wayne, bro. Like Lil Wayne was. That was my number one.
Sense. Bars.
Yeah, but I also really liked a lot of stuff that like young people didn't like. Like I loved like Black Star and like Mos Def and Talib Kweli and Common and all that like backpack type stuff. I loved it, bro, and I was like memorizing it and stuff like that. My bedroom walls were all like posters of hip hop artists. And then like Black history figures like Marcus Garvey, like all types of stuff. So
makes sense now.
Yeah. Okay. That was my room. It was just like wall to wall.
You was on Common and Mos Def and Talib.
Yeah. Gotcha. Reflection Eternal. My uncle also gave me that album. So my uncle was like the catalyst for so much music. Like he gave me all that backpack rap. He gave me cross movement.
He was a Christian too, your uncle.
Yeah. He's a Christian.
He was giving you both sides though.
He was. Yeah.
Talk about what was the importance. How did that impact you, and what was his thought process for doing that?
So that it's never really been like a thing or like a big deal or decision in my family. Like I think that if I'm reverse engineering it, we just kind of have this belief that like we 100% like, you know, we are like Bible believing Christians, you know, but we also believe there's beauty and truth outside of Christian music and media, you know? So I think growing up like that, I didn't even realize that like there was another train of thought that is like, oh, you gotta only listen to Christian music and it would be sinful to, it's never been presented to me that way.
Wow, that's so unique, and I would say rare footing of like a Christian family in the time period in which you were raised. I mean,
that's
normally
true.
It's like, yo, either we tap
one
in
or the other.
Yeah.
Right.
You ain't getting the cross movement CD and the common CD.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's fair. Well, my whole family's from the Bay Area, California, so we weren't raised in the Bible Belt. We're not from the South, so that's a little bit different. I feel it's a little different.
None of that.
And then I also, I haven't thought about this till you just said it, but my family's very interesting. Like my grandparents, who I'm very close to still, like my grandma was raised Catholic and my grandpa was raised Lutheran. So already that's literally the Protestant Reformation. Like you know what I mean? And they got married. And so like, and that like started our family. So like there's always been like this gray area, like, and really coming to a point of understanding on things and thinking about things deeper, you know, like, and really just when truth appears, like accepting it and spitting out the bones, you know, cause then, you know, after that, like they got married and they started like really getting into church and the scriptures, and then they both were like, I don't think either one of this is it, you know, and you know, so my mom and dad were not Catholic, and so anyway, all that to say, like, it wasn't a thing to me to
pick a side.
Pick a side, you know. I was in church, and then I grew up in a Kojic church because like my whole family went Kojic, so. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like Catholic, Lutheran, and then we land on Kojic.
Yeah. That's a big jump,
bro. I was gonna say.
And now I'm in Tennessee at a Kojic church, you know, and I'm in there remixing Lil Jon songs with Christian lyrics and performing it at the Kojic church.
They cool.
They all. It's really weird. I know
they didn't cut off the mic, so I mean,
looking back, because I mean, it's a Kojic church. It's like we went to convocation in Memphis.
Long
everything.
Skirts and all that. Like
100%. Like all of it. But
Gotcha.
for some reason, like the pastor was cool with. I like led a troop called. So the church is called Bright's Temple, and I led a troop called BT Pride, and that was like this group of kids where we would take these secular songs and remix them with Christian lyrics and perform them at like Youth Day or whatever. Yeah. So
ain't gonna let that name ain't gonna hit these days.
Yeah, so
I'm just playing.
So but I mean that's the thing is like
that's your background. So that's
very true to me.
That shaped your I mean honestly, get your uncle giving you cross movement and other CDs. It seemed like it shaped your.
He gave me after the music stops too.
That's crazy. Yeah. So you were 9. You're doing spoken word.
Yeah.
When do you start like rapping? Really?
Middle school.
Okay.
So I mean, I had been coming up with raps, just like just a kid coming up with raps. But then it really got real in middle school. My mom took me and my friends to a studio for my birthday. And
upon your request?
Okay. That's what I wanted for my birthday, was to go to a studio. It was just like a local artist recording studio, like home studio. And we recorded there, and it was like, they cut it to CD, and we were like, yo, this is crazy, And so we came back to school. We're selling the CDs, like we're doing,
What kind of content is in the music?
It's clean rap. But I didn't even think about like, am I making Christian rap or am I making? I was just rapping about what my life was, because it was all one integrated thing to me. So. And I mean, I was a pretty good kid. So there was some, we're emulating like the rappers too. So we're kind of talking about cars and money, but we're not talking about anything like malicious.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And then we're also talking about God, because it's just kind of like, that's the actual life that we were living type thing. And so, yeah, I mean, my music became like what people would receive as Christian hip hop, just as my faith became deeper. There was no moment where I was like, I'm going to make the genre of Christian hip hop. It was just, I've always rapped about what was in my heart. And once my heart was like captured by Jesus and it really became like my faith and not just what I was raised in, then that's when my music changed.
So you're rapping all through middle school, and I mean, are you like graduate? You go to high school? Are you like trying to make a career at it? At what point are you like, man, I'm about to like pursue this thing? Like, when does it start?
Yeah, I definitely wanted it to be a career. I either wanted to be an actor or a rapper. And so in high school, I mean, it was just, especially high school, it was just about clout, Like I knew eventually I wanted to, but at that time it was just like, yo, everybody thinks this is cool. The girls think this is cool,
right.
Whatever. But then when it was time to like apply to colleges and stuff, yeah, I applied to MTSU. But I had started making beats on like Fruity Loops, and so, and it was like right after the Soulja Boy era. So I'm like thinking, like those beats, like a lot of people could make like Soulja Boy type beats. So I'm thinking, yo, I'm a producer, and so then I go to MTSU.
Damn, you just shaded Soulja Boy production.
No. I need everybody to understand.
I know what you mean.
That, and all my friends know this, I think Soulja Boy is extremely underrated.
Legend.
Like visionary, like he needs to be in history books.
For sure.
Absolutely.
For what he did as a
16-year-old. 1,000%. 1,000%.
He changed the internet.
Yes.
He changed hip hop at 16, bruh. So no, I'm just saying the fact that I could emulate his beats did not mean that I was a producer, but in my head, I was a producer off of that. I'm Timbaland, I'm Pharrell, because I can emulate Crank That.
You can hit the
I can hit a steel drum. Yeah, you know what I mean? And program on Fruity Loops. So I'm thinking you know what I mean? I'm just Blaze. And so, I go to MTSU for audio production because I think I'm gonna be a beat maker. Get in there, do audio fundamentals, and realize very quickly, man, I am way behind all of these actual producers, And so I switch over to music business and just start excelling. Like I'm like, oh, okay, this is where my mind really excels at MTSU. And so, yeah, that's like where I meet a lot of people. I meet Mowgli there. Derek Minor comes back and speaks at MTSU. That's where I meet him. Start building a relationship with him. And
were you like interning with Derek for a second?
Yeah, I started because MTSU has you intern with labels before you graduate.
Okay.
And so I interned with RMG, really clicked with them, started doing merch management for their artists, then started road managing for Derek. And during that time, I'm still making music. Derek, he mentors like a group of me and my friends, and he gave us an extra key to his studio. It wasn't at his house. He had like a building in Murfreesboro. And so we would go and record there. And so I'm honing my craft that whole time. He comes in one day and he's like, "What is this?" I'm like, "That's me." He's like, "This is you?" I'm like, "Yeah." And so he tweets that out. That's where I get my first little bit of buzz. It's when Twitter was still like popping.
Shout out Twitter.
Right at the end of the blog era. Twitter's going crazy. That's where I get my first little buzz. And then famously, he fires me because he's like, "Do you want to be a road manager or you want to be an artist all your life?" And at that point, I'm like, I've done the business classes and I know all the statistics and stuff. And I'm like, man, it's really risky to be an artist. Like there's more job security on the business side. So I'm like, I'll just be an artist manager. And so he fired me because he was like, I've never seen somebody make it who has a safety net. Like make it as an artist who has a safety net. So I'm going to cut this safety net. Boom. When he did that, you said what happened before Canopy. I did 3 mixtapes that year. I did
3. How long the mixtapes?
Like
how many tracks?
Yeah. So Smoke Signal was like 18 or 20. Summer Camp Sessions was like 10. No Dillons was like 10. So all 3 of those was before Canopy. So that's where I got my online, because it was still blog, Twitter era. Did 3 in a year, got a little fan base, and then I did a song with Chad Jones called Beauty. I did a song called Indie, and those got me Rapzilla Freshman. So January 2015, I had a Rapzilla Freshman article, which this is when Rapzilla was at its almost at its peak. I had a Rapzilla Freshman article. They did an article about Derek firing me and telling me to be an artist, and my mixtape dropped all in that month. So, and then my mixtape was the top downloaded from Rapzilla that month.
That's crazy.
5,000 downloads. So
So you were, at this point, you were like, man, it's on now. Like, this is what you're doing.
Gotta go. Yeah. It was time to go. So I was already married at that point, and I was leading creative writing workshops with this organization called Southern Word in Nashville.
Vocationally?
Yeah.
So this is your job?
Yeah, that was my job.
Okay.
So it's a nonprofit called Southern Word, and it's like it basically increases literacy and linguistic skills through poetry, creative writing, songwriting. Southern Word is incredible. And so I was doing that in all Metro Nashville public schools. Like I would just have a schedule where I'd be embedding in these different English classes helping students with their writing. And
you were like always. What's funny is like you're always connected to like arts and music and every facet of your life looks like. I mean, from spoken word at 9, your uncles, the jazz bands, mixtapes, recording, FL. I mean, you're always fine. I think that's really important for artists to know.
Yeah.
Even in your downtime, in your work time, try to stay connected to your craft because it's just going to bring out things in you. And I feel like what's really special about your story to me is like, Canopy obviously changed things for you.
Change the game.
But like there's artists who've had splashes deal and it's hard to keep. And sometimes honestly, God just be breathing on what he chooses to breathe on for real. I mean, I know many artists,
100%.
many labels and people that they are super talented.
Absolutely.
And for whatever reason, it just didn't scale or elevate the way we may have wanted it or they had wanted it to.
That's right.
But I just feel like from 2017, that was Canopy 2017, it was
2017, that's right.
To 2025, 2024 to the people we became. I mean, that's like what, almost 8 years. And your career has not plateaued. It's ascended.
Yeah.
It's just, I think you're obviously very talented, and God, I think God has favor.
100%.
You know what I'm saying?
100%. I mean, providence is providence. You know what I mean? And I've always had the mindset of just like keep walking through doors as long as he opens them. You know what I mean? But I think I also have this mindset of like, I say this to my friends all the time, but it's like to most people in the world, every single day, I'm a brand new artist. Like most people haven't heard me. So I don't have this mindset of like, oh, I'm this established artist and I do what an established artist does and I won't do what. So that's why I still post reels that are like I'm a brand new artist because I am to most people who are gonna ever see it.
To people like Timbaland,
you know, you know exactly. Like they like they're like, oh, you're a new artist. You know, Timbaland's like, oh, I just saw this new artist who's doing this thing.
That was his exact words.
No, I'm just saying. He hasn't seen me before.
Sure.
So if he's talking to somebody and he's like, yo, I just found this kid. He's not thinking I found this established artist. You know what I mean? Like, cause he never heard of me before.
Sure.
So it's like, I think artists can lose that mindset and then they're not willing to do things that are beneath them. You know what I mean?
Now you talking.
Yeah.
I'll get super real. Even like on this tour with Hovey. You know, Hovey is a newer artist than me, right? And he told me he was nervous to ask me to be direct support for him on this tour because he came up listening to me and he was like, he didn't want to be disrespectful and he was like, you know, a lot of artists who are first of all objectively smaller than him would say no just because they've been in it longer or whatever they feel. And like when he asked me, I'm like, yeah, bro, absolutely. Like this is a great look. You know what I mean? Like it's not, like what are we talking about? Like, you know, is some stuff is very pragmatic. It's like,
For real.
bro, number wise, this makes sense. And again, I'm in my head like discovery mode. I'm like, bro has a lot of people who have never heard me before. Why would I not go on this tour and like convert those fans? You know what I'm saying?
And that's probably happening, I'm sure.
Bro, it's happening. It's like my fans are out there, they're going crazy in the crowd, but there are every single night there's people like, yo, I've never heard of you. This is incredible. I don't know how I hadn't heard of this, but I'm tapped in now. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, bro, I think that mindset is so, like, you can really hold yourself back by being like, oh, I've been doing this too long, or I'm too big to do this thing. It's like, bro, do you want to? And I think the real central thing of it for me is like, I actually want as many people to hear the messages that I put in my song as possible. So I'm not going to get in the way of that.
Only a couple months away.
Yes.
Holy smoke.
Holy smoke.
When I tell you, last year was the first year I did not go. When I tell you the ultimate FOMO, I'm not even gonna hold you. I was not on social media. I just don't want to see it. I'll see it afterwards because it's. I feel like Holy smoke is something. It's crazy. You said 5 years, right?
This is the fifth year.
Which is crazy. Looking back, at what the festival has grown into, what are you most proud of when you see it stand 5 years strong now?
Yeah, man, what I'm most proud of is how artists have been equipped and inspired by the festival, and how the community has felt like there's a central point for them. That's the stuff that like immediately I'm just so happy about. Like, there have been Christian businesses that have started because people met each other at Holy Smoke. There's been artists who their first performance was at Holy Smoke 1, and now they have 6 million monthly listeners and go on national tours. And there's been groups like that their first performance, like Heaven on Earth, you know, their first performance was at Holy Smoke. Magic and Bird's first performance in however many years was at Holy. Like those type of like landmark moments. That's what I love about the fest.
Yeah, I will say this. One thing I love, even aside from the music, it's like going to not last year's, but the year before, where it just seemed like a reunion kind of, you know what I'm saying? Like you seeing everybody like from the music standpoint to even, I don't know, it felt like a big reunion of everybody. And I feel like, was that intentional, you know, for you, for wanting to bring your like peers, friends, fam, you know what I'm saying? To be able to come under one roof and just be able to support one another. That's what it feels like. Does it feel like that to you at all? Yeah,
I love like the kind of summer camp aspect of Holy Smoke, where it, like you said, it feels like a reunion. It feels like everybody's linking up. I actually think it's very organic. I think it grows out of the fact that Holy Smoke is owned and operated by Indie Tribe. And I think that Indie Tribe really, because we actually are like that, we naturally give off that familial and that communal thing that the DNA of the festival is kind of that way, and then that's how people interact with the festival.
Yeah.
So
I feel like I just don't know, man. I know y'all were talking off air about a lot of different things for Smoke this year, but it feels like the limits there are none, honestly, when it comes to it. Like in like 5-10 years, like what's like a big goal that you have for like vision wise when it comes to seeing where Holy Smoke can go, whether it's traveling or like, you know, like I said, the possibilities are endless. Where do you see that?
Yeah, man, I spend so much time like I was saying to y'all, being in the present and just like building what's right in front of me, that actually, it might be surprising, but it's kind of like a weakness of mine to like plan that like far ahead for the fest. Like I have some friends who are like, they're big dreamers like that, and they're like, oh, I'm trying to do this stadium or whatever. I'm usually focused on like, how do we make this one like the best that we can? But I will say like, yeah, we want to go big with it. Like we want it to be, you know, a historical event. Like we want it to get bigger and bigger every year. It was sold out last year. It's going to sell out this year, and then we're going to try to go bigger next year. I think I have this vision of it being like at a outdoor amphitheater type joint with just like a field of people, you know. I think that's like just as a festival director, that's like, you know, what you think of. But yeah, I just wanted to grow with the space and provide like a space to showcase all of the artistic excellence that we have going on.
Yeah, I feel like with you and other music festivals and things like that, you being a lover of music, you can attest to this because before you performed at Rolling Loud, you went to Rolling Loud, right?
That's
so
right.
Like, you know what I'm saying? So what do you feel like other festivals can take from Holy Smoke?
Yeah. So I'll be controversial. So Rolling Loud is like, I think Rolling Loud is amazing because it's the biggest hip hop festival in the world, and they let us. They like are wanting us to participate with it, which is amazing. But we're very different in Rolling Loud in that artistry is at the center of what we do, where I think platform is at the center of what Rolling Loud does. So if you're just big enough, then we want you because it's going to bring a lot of people. I get it. That's a good marketing thing. But I think we're more inspired by festivals like Dreamville Fest or like Camp Flog Gnaw, where it's like the DNA of the festival is like everybody's gonna bring their best set there, and you're gonna see things like that you don't get to see other places. Like you're just gonna, like, you had to go to Camp Flog Gnaw to see Frank Ocean like in the last 10 years. Like that's, you know what I mean? Like that type of stuff. And so And we've noticed that with those festivals, it usually comes top down. So there's no artist at the top of Rolling Loud. There's businessmen at the top of Rolling Loud, right? Sure. There's an artist at the top of Camp Flog Gnaw, Tyler. There's an artist at the top of Dreamville. You know, there's an artist at the top of Roots Picnic. You know, and so on those festivals, it's like the artist sets the tone, and the culture, and that. So with Indie Tribe, it's like we are trying to. With our sets, we go all out. Like I mean, you've seen it, you know? Like John goes crazy with his set. Like I've never done a set like I did at Holy Smoke. You know, you go to the YouTube, people are like, this is the best performance I've ever seen in my life, like bar none, you know? And that's because we want everybody to do that. You know, we want everybody to bring their A game because people are starting to take notice and see, and they're going to be like, yo, there's actually nothing like this subgenre in the world. Like nobody is pound for pound. Like, bro, people try to get all type of sound bites on podcasts about Christian hip hop. Like, but I'm being dead serious. Like pound for pound, there's no other genre that has this much talent and takes as much care and like punches above weight class as much as us. That's just true, bro. That is true. You know what I mean?
I love your hot takes because I don't think they're hot takes. I think you're standing on some truth there. And I love how responding to the Christian hip hop banter online. Yeah. With just showing up and just doing what you do. Yeah. And honestly, this is the gifting of you and Indie Tribe because y'all are really nice guys and y'all got like some pushback energy. It's not sinful or negative. Y'all really like y'all kind of like want the smoke. Yeah. And I think that's important to carry your craft in a way where y'all not like tiptoeing in mainstream spaces or being on Rolling Loud or even operating your festival with a sense of like, I wonder if they're gonna like it. Like it's a certain confidence that I think is important. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and it's I mean, that's how we are with each other. We think that like it's a difference between being condescending and tearing people down and challenging each other in a way that builds each other up. That's what we do. We're challengers, but the goal is to build up, is to edify. And a lot of times that takes challenge. And sometimes, especially in our culture right now, people receive challenge as negativity, but it's like that's not even biblical. Like challenge,
facts, absolutely,
it is part of edifying. You know, so it's like that. I mean, I remember a couple years ago, like, you know, Mowgli, he works a full-time job and does music. Like, I mean, you know, he's a workhorse, and I'm full-time music, just full-time music, right? And there was a time that I was like kind of taking my foot off the gas a little bit. And Mowgli like made this comment in the group chat about like how like, yo, if he had as much time as I did, then he would be doing all this stuff. And it was like, it was very like abrasive, but he was right, bro. And it like lit a fire under me. And like so much of what has come out was because of that moment of like challenge, you know? And I could have received it as him tearing me down, and I could have got offended and been like, man, you don't know my situation or whatever. But I didn't. I was like, all right, bet, let's get it. You know what I'm saying?
I love it.
So I think that, I think challenge is important.
Yeah, I think that's the. I mean, talk about a little bit about Indie Tribe. How do y'all navigate some of the competitive rivalry within each other? Like, is it fun? Is it like, because I mean, you, John, and Tori, bar for bar, y'all boys is like, y'all different.
Nah, Miss, listen, Mowgli, you got put Mowgli up there, man.
I mean, his fans gonna be on your head top, bro.
Because I mean, I'll be listening to
Mowgli. Definitely surprised me a little bit.
For real.
No shade. Shout out Mowgli.
For real.
I didn't know he was a rapper like that.
No.
I ain't know.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay. So talk about like,
he'll bust you in the head.
How do y'all? And Michael is not a rapper, but he has the energy of a battle rapper.
He does have the energy. He does have the energy. Michael got everything but the bars. Everything but the bar.
Right.
He's definitely like the shooter.
Yeah. Facts.
He's the
Which
shooter.
is incredible.
He's the guy. Speaking of craft, Dill, I want to talk about just to kind of think about the quality of hip hop in the bar. How do you breath control and deliver so well? Because I mean, honestly, I saw a couple things: breath control on stage, and then bars, lyricism, song structure, and the recording side.
Yeah,
I saw a producer who like produces for Jack Harlow on Instagram stories yesterday.
Okay, in
the mainstream space, he said, "All right, we gotta chill out with the freestyle writing. We're losing great hooks. We just spitballing, and we need some more structure, some arrangement."
Okay, I like that.
And I'm like, this is not even. Me and Craig been talking about this a little bit, and I know there's probably artists gonna come for me on this. Talk about the importance of sitting down and just writing your lyrics. Yeah, as a craft and making songs.
Man, I wish I would have seen that story because that's really interesting. I agree with him, and I think it's a tough balance because I think a lot of us. You know, I'm a Lil Wayne kid, so, you know, he famously said, man, you just got to go in the studio with clips and unload the clip. And so he had a lot of that train of thought, like rapping, that freestyle rapping. And that that's deeply ingrained in me. But then, like I said, like with all of the backpack rap and the real like song structure guys, you know, those are the songs that ended up being the soundtrack to my life. The ones that had like a concept and you know what I mean, a hook that reflected that concept, and then the people stayed on it, type thing. So yeah, that takes writing and rewriting. It takes the actual writing process. You know, it takes even pre-writing too. Like, you know, putting ideas on like a whiteboard, right? Concepts that like have been coming out in prayer, in journal, in conversations with people. Stuff we talked about today, putting that on a whiteboard, right? And then you can do your freestyle draft, right? And then you see what rises to the top from that, right? And you say, oh, this stanza was crazy. You know what I mean? Because this is also the spoken word process too. You take that out. Okay, now I'm gonna build around this, you know, and a concept comes to the front. Okay, you know, and I say that in parabolic too, like rappers don't revise, cut the fat like some lipo, like. We should this should be part of the writing process.
Is rewriting and editing.
And editing. Yeah,
I think it needs to be said. And shout out you for knowing that that's something that the art could benefit from.
100%.
And then on the other side, on the performance side, I have seen the festival in Atlanta. This is like A3C festival. A while back, I'm dating myself. I remember there was like one of the headliners at the time. This is like Playboy Cardi before he is who he is now.
Oh, okay.
Which I wouldn't advise listening to him because he ain't gonna lie. I mean,
I didn't know he was ever at A3C.
Yeah, he was, and I would say, you know, I wouldn't advise. I don't listen to him now because I feel like the content it just ain't, you know, it ain't edifying. So, but I mean, he came on stage. There was some other rappers, performers who were killing it. You know what I'm saying? And he came on stage, and bro, it was just like, it was kind of reflective of the culture now. Of like, let the beat, the whole song play, and just kind of scat on top of it. And it wasn't really a performance. Talk about the importance of being a rap performer. Even Kendrick at Super Bowl, the leaked audio of his vocals, and how I've seen you at the All For You tour in Chicago, and I was like, oh, that's live. Talk about that.
Yeah, it's back, man. It's like, I mean, Kendrick, Doechii, like, you know, a lot of these, Tyler.
That's true. Tyler.
I mean, I think anytime that there's like a huge wave of something like Playboy Cardi, whatever, whoever you want to put in there, there's also like a counter wave where people are like, they're hungry for like the real craft. You know what I mean? And I think that people think you just, I am a rapper, so, you know, I'm backstage and then they call me up and I come up and I do my thing because it's my identity, and they don't take it as like I'm a craftsman and I actually have to like perfect my craft. So like a lot of people compliment me on my like my stage presence, my breath control, the fact that I say all my lyrics, I don't sound winded and all that. That's not by accident. Like they know on the All For You tour, I go up at 8, at 7 o'clock, everybody's out of my green room. I'm doing exercises, stretching, getting my heart rate up, and then I'm doing my humidifier for my vocal cords. I'm doing my vocal warm-ups for that. Like, it's a lot that goes into that. It's not just like magic. It's that I actually like work at that, right? And I think that if I'm like more of a rapper that is really about like lyrical ability and dexterity, then it's more convincing to people if I can really perform my lyrics.
Facts.
That's going to make them want to listen. Like, yo, this is compelling. He just said every single word in that. His body movements were connected to what he was saying. Like, I might not have caught everything, but I got to go listen to that because that was really compelling.
I would even say it's compelling stylistically and you know, spiritually. I feel like there's so much value in how what you're saying is compelling too, because even at the shows, I'm watching some of the Discovery fans at the show.
Yeah.
And I'm watching how you're performing those lyrics, which the faith in Christ, your stories are really deeply rooted in there. And you also pause certain parts of the song so that message can hit a certain kind of way. Yeah. And I'm watching like, oh yeah, it's not just craftsmanship, dexterity. It's like kind of like preaching a sermon. Yeah. It's the communication of the gospel that is done in a very clear way that's compelling people to like lean in. So
lean in. Yeah,
I think that's powerful. As we kind of wrap, man, I know the Renaissance album's out. Sorry, the People Who Became album. The song is amazing. I love that hook. Talk about like things that are important for you right now.
Yeah.
Anything you want to leave people that are like following your journey? Any kind of like encouragement to the people? Yeah. Because the person you became is someone who was interning, road managing, serving, doing poetry, and then literally 8 years later, your career is still growing. Talk about the person you became and how that somebody watching can glean from that.
Yeah, I think with the Renaissance song, like when I talk about the Renaissance, I think that Christian art done by Christians, whatever, like right now, is in a creative resurgence. I'm gonna go ahead and say this on this podcast. I started saying that, and I feel like other people have ran with it, and I feel like they don't actually know the depth of what I'm saying, so they're just saying it as like sound bites, and people are reprinting it or whatever. But when I say the Renaissance, the reason I use that word is because for like a millennia, Christians were leading in art. Like they were like the masters of painting and sculpting and architecture, even invention in medicine. Like in science, in astronomy, not astrology, but astronomy. Like we're Christians for 1,000 years. And then all of a sudden, the last 100 years, like we've been very averse to the arts and we've kind of given it over to other people. You know, and then just called art evil. And it was like, well, no, it's because we stopped doing it. It's not that art is evil. It's that there's evil art being made because we just stopped valuing it, you know? And so when I say a renaissance, it's like we're returning to like our calling to high art, you know? And so that's what I see going on in music and in film. And it's not to say, yo, we're here, but it's really to remind us it's like a calling up,
for sure,
to like, let's hold that standard, let's increase that standard. Right. You know what I mean? Because we are created by and serve the greatest creator. We should reflect the greatest in creativity, the Holy Spirit. If the Holy Spirit is flowing through us, then the most valuable creative acts should come through us. You know what I mean? And I think for too long, creativity has been seen as something that comes from outside of Christianity. Makes no sense. It's a bad testimony. Like it's not just, I feel like it's almost like not optional. It's a bad testimony for us not to lead in creativity, because by omission, we're saying that God is not creative. It's a bad testimony. So it's calling to a better testimony.
Dill will be back on the show, ladies and gentlemen, because we just had this conversation on the last episode, and that speaks into everything we talked about, right?
So, hey, you thank you for saying that.
Yeah,
that got me charged up. I'm gonna make a beat right now. Holy Spirit, come through.
Yeah.